Hello dear students, welcome to IITN GATE classes, an exclusive GATE coaching totally run by IIT and ISC graduates. So today we are going to discuss the GATE 2020 solution of digital electronics of all the three branches combined, that is electrical, EC and IN. So we will see one by one what were the questions that were asked in GATE 2020 and how to approach those questions. So let us see. So this question was asked to IN branch. So this is a very simple question they have given. So given f ABCD is equal to, okay, so this corresponds to our min terms. Okay, so if it was given like this, then it would have been max terms. Okay, so here they have given min term numbers and the don't care numbers is a Boolean function where m represent min terms and d represent don't cares. The minimal sum of product expression for f is, okay, so they have asked you sum of product. Okay, so this is very simple question. We just need to draw the K map and then we can get the solution directly. So if we do that, so such type of questions basically they are asked, means what I should say, these are very simple questions and these are given so that means the difficulty level of the paper it comes down little bit. Okay, so take care of the numbering. Okay, so they have given min terms in 0 1 2 6, 0 1 2 6 8 9 10 11, 8 9 10 11, fine, and don't cares in the cell 3 7 14 15, 3 7 14 15. Okay, so we can see here this is very obvious actually. So we can see we can make a group of 8 like this, and we can also construct a group of 4. Okay, so why should we construct group of 4? If we can see, if we make a group of 4 here, but we also have a group of 8 if we can take like this. Okay, so we will not make group of 4. Instead what we will do, we will make group of 4, group of 8 like this. Okay, so now let me write the corresponding SOP. Okay, so now the corresponding SOP, what will it be? If I write for this blue group, you can see in the column there is nothing common. Okay, but here in the row side we have something common, and that is C plus, for this one what do we have common? So if we see in the column we have B bar. Okay, so we have this thing, we are getting this expression. So this is very simple and we can see this is option A. So max to max, if you are solving this question should be over within 20 seconds, not more than that. See, I am explaining you people, so I need to explain, take time, so that is why I took time. But directly what you will do in examination hall, you will just catch this K map roughly. Okay, no need to put this number, means it is required actually to put the number. If you are not comfortable, means if you ask my opinion, I will always put the number because I am comfortable like that. Okay, so if we do that, so you will be getting the answer within 20 seconds. Okay, so the option A is the correct answer. So moving on to the next question, this was also very simple. See, they have asked the Boolean operation performed by the following circuit at output O is, okay, so they want the expression for this O. So this is ground, so here it is 0. When this 0 passes through the inverter, we will get 1. So I1 is 1, I2 is 1, I0 will be again 0, and I3 is also 0. This is actually, okay, so this is actually what we can see. Directly, if we see this, to which corresponding logic gate does this output comes? AND, OR, NAND, NOR, or XOR or XNOR, which one? So this is basically the truth table, means the output for XOR. So directly I can write my answer. O will be what? It will be S1 XOR S0. Suppose for the same question, I0, I1, I2, I3. Okay, if the input combination was like this 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so if this was this combination, so we know this output actually we get for which of the logic gate? See, if I write A, B, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So when will we get such type of combination like this one? 0, 1, 1, 1. So this is basically what? If this is my y is equal to A or B. Okay, so then our answer would have been C. But here we can see what? Our combination is like this 0, 1, 1, 0. So this corresponds to what? 0, 1, 1, 0. Basically this corresponds to what? This is A XOR B. So directly you could have solved this question. Okay, so this is one of the easiest approach that we could have followed, and there is also another method we know. So if I want to write that, how can I write? O is equal to S1 S0 into 0, means, sorry, I shouldn't be writing directly, so that will be I0 plus S1 I1 plus S1 S0 bar I2 plus S1 S0 I3. Okay, so now let me put the values of I0, I1, I2, I3. So I can see I0 and I3 is 0 and I1 and I2 is both 1. So if I write that, S1 plus S1 S0 bar. So this is what? This is S1 XOR S0. So our answer is option D. So what I want you people to do is, for this option A and option B, I want you to calculate the input combinations and write down in the comment section. Okay, so I want you people to check, means what should have been the input combinations here. Leave this circuit. Okay, leave this circuit. I just want the combinations for I0, I1, I2 and I3 for this S0 and, means, sorry, for the option A and option B. Okay, so just write down that in the comment section and I will get back to you if it is correct or not. Moving on to next question. This was also very simple questions, means these are all, what I should say, these are free marks question. Okay, these are, if you know the basic concept, basic formula of such questions, you can just solve it easily, very easily. So what they have given here is a 200 millivolt full scale dual analog to digital converter has a reference voltage of 100 millivolt. Okay, so they have given reference voltage is equal to 100 millivolt. The first integration time. Okay, so first integration time, what does this mean? First integration time. So this is basically what? This is the charging time. Okay, so this is the charging time they have given. So charging time is equal to what? 100 millisecond they have given, or you can also say it as the integration time. Okay, the DS ADC is operated in continuous conversion mode. The conversion time of DS ADC for an input voltage of 123.4 millivolt. Okay, so they have given you that the applied voltage is 123.4 millivolt, and they want you to calculate actually the total conversion time. Okay, so what do we mean by total conversion time? It will be the charging time plus the discharging time that we have. Okay, so they are asking you, basically we have seen the formula. Okay, we have seen the formula that it is what V applied into charging time is equal to V reference into discharging time. Okay, so we know this. So basically, okay, so first let me calculate the discharging time. So VA is how much? 123.4. Take care of the units. Okay, take care of the units always. So it's better to write millivolt into charging time. Charging time is how much? It is 100 millisecond is equal to, reference is what? 100 millivolt into discharging time. Okay, so let me write it as TD. So I can see, so this 100 gets cancelled with this 100, this millivolt is cancelled, we are remaining with just TD is equal to 123.4 milliseconds. So we are getting discharging time as 123.4 milliseconds. Okay, now look very carefully. Okay, most, I think 10 or 20% of the people, they have directly marked. Okay, so they have marked, and which is quite obviously wrong. Why wrong? Because look carefully what they have written. The conversion time of the DS ADC for an input. So they want the conversion time. So what do we mean by conversion time? Conversion time is actually total time taken by this dual slope ADC to convert the applied voltage to an equivalent digital output. Okay, so that is known as my what? Conversion time, and that is what it will be, charging time plus discharging time. So charging time was how much? 100 millisecond plus discharging time was what? 123.4 milliseconds. So in total this will be how much? 223.4 milliseconds. Okay, so your answer will be what? It will be 223.4 milliseconds. Okay, so always take care, means always be extra cautious when you are in your examination hall. See, the mistake that could have happened is this same thing. Okay, this 123.4 milliseconds. Okay, so this, all this simple mistakes, they actually, what I should say, they always expect the students to make. So we shouldn't be doing all this. Means after so much preparation, if this question comes in 1 or 2 mark and we know all the theory and we have solved the question, and due to our negligence if we lose that marks, so after examination it will be very bad for our confidence also and very bad to our result also. Okay, so always be extra cautious when you are solving questions in examination hall. So this question, it was asked to instrumentation. So this is also a very simple question asked from Venn diagram concept. So if we want to solve this, we should have a clear and simple logic of Venn diagram. Okay, So let me ask you few questions. First, what they have asked, let us see that the Boolean expression for the shaded region as shown in the figure is, okay, so they want to know this region, okay, this region they want to know what will be the Boolean expression. Very simple, okay, fine. So now tell me one thing, what is this area, this whole complete area, what is this? This will be what? Okay, first let me come to this point. If I take this region, okay, so if I take this region, then this is what? This is A union B, or I can write what? A or B, okay. So now if I want to write this area, what will it be? It will be A union B complement, or I can say A plus B complement, okay. Now tell me, if I want to write this region, this red one, okay, so what should I write? That is A intersection B, or I can write A and B, okay. This is very simple, okay. So now wait, let me just copy this diagram once more so that it doesn't get messy. So, okay, fine. Okay. So now let me ask you, this region, okay, this portion excluding this one, okay, so I want to know what will be this. So if I want to know that, what will it be? It will be A, okay, this is complete A, okay, completely this is A intersection, if I say B bar, okay, if I say B bar, so what will it be? See, look, very carefully look at this. So this whole region, okay, this whole region is what? This is my B, okay. Now what will be B complement? B complement will be everything outside this circle of B, okay, it will be whole of this, okay, it will be whole of this, okay. So now if I want to write this in our Boolean expression, it will be what? A into B, okay. So now let me ask you, what does this mean? A and B bar. Look, we have to take the area common between A and B complement. We can see from the diagram, only this region, okay, so my diagram now it is becoming very messy, wait, okay, so let me write this. So this is A into B bar. So now if you see, if I want to take the common region between A and B complement, what will it be? See, I told you this is my whole of A, okay, this is whole A, and this is my B complement. If you can see, this is my B complement whole region, okay, this full region is my B complement. So now see the common area, it is only this portion that you are left with is the common area. Okay, this shaded region. So this is the region that we were looking for. Okay, see this one, this is the shaded region. So that is why this is A into B complement. And how will we write this region, this region, this one? We will write it like B into A complement. Okay, and now simply what we have to do, this is what, addition, because this is either this region or this region. So I will write it like A into B complement plus A B complement. Okay, now if we check the options, there is, means this is coming in standard SOP form. Why standard I am saying? Because you can see it is a 2 variable Venn diagram, and in the min terms we have both the variables. Okay, so this is standard SOP. And from the options also you can see these are standard POS. So how do we convert a SOP to POS? Simply what we will do, we will draw the truth table A, B, X. So this is 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay, so we are seeing for this it is 1 and for this one it is 1, this Boolean expression. So for the remaining one it will be 0. So now if I write the POS form for both of this, what will it be? It will be A bar plus B bar into A plus B. We can see that is option D. Okay, so you can see that is option D. Okay, so this was actually one method to solve this question. Now we can solve this question by another method also. How? Let me show you that. Very simple. If I want to, means look very carefully. Okay, what should I write this area? I have already told you, this whole complete area. This is what? This is my A union B, or I can write A or B, or what I can write, A plus B. Okay, fine. Okay, now what is this region? This region, this is A intersection B, or I can write A and B, or I can write what, A into B. Okay, so this is this region. Fine. Now tell me one thing, what will be A intersection B complement? What is this? What I am doing here? This is NAND operation. This is A and B, which means A, B complement. Okay. Now tell me which region is this one? This A complement B, sorry, A into B whole complement. What is this region? This will be the whole of this region. Okay, this whole region except the common part. Okay, it will be the region. Now simply what I can do, if I multiply this two term, A plus B into A B whole complement, by taking, if you see the common area, so what is the common area? So this blue line, it is indicating what, A B whole complement. Okay, and let me take the red one. Red, it defines this one. Okay, so you can see the common area is which one? It is the region that actually I want. Okay, so this is the region that I want. Now simply by applying De Morgan's rule, I can do what? A plus B into A complement plus B complement, which is my option D. So you can solve this question by any method you want. Whichever method you think is simple, you can solve it. So it totally depends upon you, how you see the Venn diagram, how you decode the Venn diagram. So it depends totally upon you, how you consider the values and how you can solve it. Okay. So this question, this was also asked to IN, and this was also very simple question. The only thing being the language they have given, it is a little bit tricky and a little bit, what I should say, lengthy to decode. Means in examination hall we are always, means we are having lot of information, so we have to gather lot of informations and process them. So while doing that, if we see a big question, so what happens now, it means sometimes to few of the students it hammers our confidence, because it is always fed in our mind that a lengthy thing is a difficult thing to understand. But if you go with this question, this is very simple question. So let us see. The address line A9 to A2 of a 10 bit 1.023 volt full scale DAC is connected to data line of 8 bit microprocessor. Okay, with A1 and A0 of the DAC grounded. Okay, so they have grounded the LSB bit. Okay, A1 and A0 of the DAC. Now D7 and D0 to D0 is changed from this value to this value. The corresponding change in the output of DAC is okay, fine. So first thing first, let us draw the diagram of the circuit. How will it look? So if I want to draw that, see, this is the microprocessor. This is my microprocessor, this is my DAC. So DAC will have input in digital fashion and output in analog mode. Output is analog and input will be digital. So D7 to D, okay, so they have address line A9 to A2 of a 10 bit. Okay, okay, so this is what, so here we have A9, A8, A7, A6, A5, A4, A3, A2, A1, A0. So in examination we will not draw all this, okay, this is just for explaining you people. So what they have said, this is connected to the data lines, fine. So this will be D7, D6, D5, D4, D3, D2, D1 and our D0, fine. And the last two LSB of the DAC is grounded, they have said. You can see A1 and A0 of the DAC grounded. Okay, fine. Now D7 to D0 is changed from this value to this value. Okay, fine. First thing first, what is the resolution of this DAC? Resolution of DAC is what? It is V full scale divided by number of steps. Okay, so number of steps is given by 2 to the power n minus 1. So what is the full scale value? It is given 1.023 volt divided by 2 to the power 10 minus 1. So 2 to the power 10 is what? It is 1024. 1024 minus 1. So that is 1023. 1023. Now if I take out this one, it will be 10 to the power 3. So this will be what? 1 millivolt. Okay. So for each increment to the DAC, my output will change by 1 millivolt. Okay. So if I want to write this A9, A8, A7, A6, A5, A4, A3, A2, A1, A0. Okay. So this is 10 bit. So this is my output voltage, or I can write it as output only because I have denoted by that, output in volt. Okay, so they have asked in millivolt. Okay, remember this. So we will also do the work in our millivolt only because resolution is also in millivolt. So it will be very easy. So output in millivolt. So suppose here they have given A1 and A0 is always grounded. So it will be always 0. Okay, no matter what. Only the change will be in this 7 bits. No, in this 8 bit. Okay, from A2 to A9 there are 8 bits. So only change will be there in this 8 bit. Okay, so now if you see, okay, they could have asked you when will be the first transition in output that is taking place. Okay, when will be the first transition in output that is taking place. If I ask you that, look, here it will never be 1. Okay, the next term in the count should have been 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0, but this 1 will never occur. Why? Because it is given A1 A0 is always grounded, so this will remain ground. Okay, so the next transition it will always occur, sorry, when A2 changes to 1. So when my A2 changes to 1, this is what? This is decimal 0, and this will be what? This will be 4. Okay. So output for this, if it corresponds to 0 millivolt, for if my resolution is what? 1 millivolt. So for 4 number of step changes, it will be what? It will be 4 millivolt. Okay. So I can say this is threshold of this device. Okay, threshold of this DAC means directly after 0 it will jump to 4 millivolt only. There will not be 2 millivolt, 3 millivolt in between, or 1 millivolt, it will not be there. Okay, so now what happens, you can see this is changed from 1 0 0. Okay, so this bits, these are always 0, and the next bit, this is changed from this to this. Okay, 1 0 1 0. So 1 0 1 0, this will be 1 0 1 0. Okay, fine, and it is changed to 1 0 1 1. Okay, fine. So it is changed to 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 1 0. Okay, fine. The corresponding change in the output of DAC. Okay, the corresponding change. So let me assume, you can see if this is V1 and if this is V2, they just want to know what is V2 minus V1. Okay, they want to know what is V2 minus V1. So one thing can be what? You can calculate the equivalent decimal of this binary number. Okay, and then multiply with the resolution. And again you can do what? Calculate the equivalent binary decimal number of this binary and multiply it with the resolution, and then take the difference. Okay, this is one very good thing. This is one very not good thing, I should be saying, because in examination we have scarcity of time. Okay, so we shouldn't be doing that. What you can see, directly check how much is the change in the bit values. Okay, how much is the change in the bit values, or how much is the jump in both the numbers. Okay, so look, both these are same, only change you can see number after this value, this is same. Okay, only change is here. So this is 0. So from 0 0 0 to 1 0 0, how many numbers are there? This corresponds to 0, this corresponds to 4. So the difference in both the number is of how much? It is of 4. So each count is of 1 millivolt. So difference in 4 count will be how much? It will be 4 millivolt. So your answer to this question will be what? 4 millivolt. See, this should be your approach while solving the question. Okay, they could have asked you this also. Tell when will the first change in the DAC occur. So at that time you would have to say that from this bit number, means this bit value 0 double 0 double 0 double 0 0 1 double 0, for this value your DAC will make the first transition, and that transition will be 4 millivolt. Okay, and the difference between this two bit value for this DAC, means whenever this input, this is the input to the DAC, output will change by 4 millivolt. Okay, so this was a good question, but it was simple. Okay, so now again this question was asked to IN. So let us see what is this question. Two T flip flop are interconnected as shown in the figure. Okay, the present state of the flip flops are A equal to 1, B equal to 1. Okay, A equal to 1, B equal to 1. The input X is given as, this is the input 1 0 1. In the next 3 clock cycles, the decimal equivalent of AB Y, with A being the MSB and Y being the LSB after the 3rd clock cycle. Okay, fine. This is very simple question. You just have to know the basics and that's it. So if I write the next state equation, okay, if I write the next state equation, so what will it be? AN plus 1 is equal to TA plus, XOR AN. So if I write this, what is TA? TA is X, and this is what? This is Bn plus, no, this is NAND actually, into Bn XOR with AN. Okay, TA, you can see this is my TA. Okay, TA. So what is TA? TA is NAND X and NAND B. Okay, Bn. So that is what I have written. Now if I want to write the next state of this flip flop B, what will it be? This should be TB plus Bn. So what is TB? TB is directly, we can see it is X. Sorry, this should be XOR na. So X XOR Bn. Okay, fine. Okay, this is given. Now I want to write what? What is the value, decimal equivalent ABY2? Okay, so we have to write this thing. So simple, if we construct the state table, so AN Bn so AN plus 1 Bn plus 1, and this will be Y, and here we should have another column for X. Okay, so the input, okay, the present state of the flip flops are A equal to 1, B equal to 1, A equal to 1, B equal to 1, and the input X is given as 1 0 1. So input given as 1 0 1. Okay, so if I give this, now look very carefully, what is AN plus 1? It is X into Bn whole complement. Okay, so X into Bn whole complement, so that will be what? If I solve it here, X into Bn, so 1 into 1 whole complement XOR AN. So what is AN? AN is 1. So this will be 0 XOR 1. So this will be 1. And what will be Bn? It is X XOR Bn. X XOR Bn. Both of them are same. So it will be 0. And what is Y? Y is basically addition, means OR of A and B. Okay, so this is A plus B. So 1 plus 0 is what? It is 1. Okay. So what is your next state? Means the present state now, it will be 1 0. Okay, so now let us calculate an plus 1 again. So x now it is 0 into bn. So what is bn? It is 0 whole complement XOR with an. So it will be 1. So this is 1 XOR 1 and it will be 0. So this is 0. Now for bn it is x XOR bn. So x XOR bn. So this will be also 0. So now y is addition of a and b. So it will be 0. Addition means not addition, I should be saying a or b. Okay. So this is 0. Now the third clock pulse. What is the present state? It will be 0 0. So now let me calculate an plus 1. So what will be an plus 1? It is x into bn. Bn is 0 XOR with an, that is 0. So again we can see it is what? This is 0. So this is 1. So this will be 1. What is bn? Bn is x XOR bn. So x XOR bn, it will be 1, and 1 or with 1, it is always 1. So you can see we have to give the equivalent decimal of this binary count. Okay, so what is this? This is 7. So your answer should have been 7 for this question. Okay, so this was also very simple. If you solve in exam, this question should be over within 1 minute. Okay, don't ever copy this question in your copy. Okay, in the rough sheet they give you. Why? Because you can directly write the next state equation, construct the state table and solve it. Okay, no need to construct this diagram or logic circuit in your rough text. Okay, in your rough notepad. So that is not good actually. Okay, so this was asked to GATE ECE, but you should be knowing for ECE microprocessor has been omitted. The microprocessor part, it is totally taken out. Only for IN people we have this microprocessor. Okay, microprocessor 8085. So let us solve this question for instrumentation people. So what they have given in an 8085 microprocessor, the number of address line required to access a 16 kilobyte memory bank is. They want to know how many address line is required. Okay, fine, for 16 kilobyte data. Okay, so this is very good question actually. So 16 kilobyte. Okay, 16 kilobyte. Now can anyone tell me, for representing 1 kilobyte, okay, 1 kilobyte data, 1 kilobyte memory, how many address line do we require? 1 kilobyte means what? 1024 byte. Okay, so for representing this we require 2 to the power 10 address line. Okay, so this, how can I write? I can write it as 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 10. Okay, I can write it like this. So very simply what I can say, for representing this much amount, okay, so I can write it like what? 2 to the power 14 byte. Okay, so now for representing this much data, how many lines do I require? 14 lines. Okay, 14 lines we require. So your answer to this question was 14. Very simple question. Okay, so another question they have asked to GATE ECE. This was very simple question. Look, the figure below shows a multiplexer where S1 and S0 are the select lines, I0 to I3 are the input data line, EN is the enable line, and FPQR is the output. F is okay. So they want to know the F. Look, this is active low enable. Okay, active low enable they have given. This is a bubble they have given here in the logic circuit, and the input to the enable is also what? It is 0. This is fixed. So the mux, it is always operational. Okay, the mux is always operational. Now let me calculate F. So F is what? It will be S1 S0 complement I naught plus S1 S naught I1 plus S1 S naught bar I2 plus S1 S naught I3. Okay, so very simple question, just we need to put on the values. So this will be what? P bar Q bar I naught is what? It is R, plus I1 we can see it is 0, so we will not write, and this will be, for this one it will be P Q bar I2 is what? It is R, plus this is what? Plus P Q. Okay, so this is P Q only, fine. Okay, now we have to minimize this, so we don't need to draw K map. If you see properly, what I can take common from this thing is Q bar R is common, P bar plus P plus PQ. Okay, so this will be 1 Q bar R plus PQ. So option C is my answer. Okay, you can see option C is the answer, and these are very simple questions that we have. Okay, this is very simple question, so we can solve it like this. So this is another question they have asked to GATE EC 2020. So let us see what is this question. Here it is said P, Q and R are the decimal integers corresponding to 4-bit binary numbers 100. Consider in sign magnitude 1's complement and 2's complement. Okay, so P is 100 in sign magnitude representation, Q is 1000 in 1's complement representation, and R is in 2's complement representation respectively. The 6-bit 2's complement representation of P plus Q plus R is okay. So they want to know what is the 6-bit 2's complement representation of P plus Q plus R. Okay, fine. So this is given in sign magnitude representation. Okay, so if I want to write, so what is equivalent number in decimal of this P? It is what? It will be -4. For this one, see, the first term is 1. Okay, so this is a negative number. To calculate the equivalent binary number, what we have to do? We have to take the complement once again. So if I take complement once again, what will it be? It will be 1 0 1 1. So this is -3, and this here also I can see the first number means the sign bit is what? It is 1. So this is negative number. So I have to take 2's complement once again, and the 2's complement for this thing will be remaining the same. It will remain the same. It will be 1 1 0 0. Okay, it will be 1 1 0 0. Why it is 1 1 0 0? Because we know the shortcut for calculating 2's complement. How it is? So if I want to calculate the, what I should say, 2's complement, we start from this LSB and we search for the first position of 1. Okay, we search for it. So till that term we just copy, and after that we just reverse, we take complement. So this is the sign bit, so it will not play any effect. So this is what? This is also your -4. So if I want to add all this, this is what? This is -11. Okay, so this is -11, and they want the number in 2's complement representation. So what is 11? 11 is 8 plus 3, so that will be 1 0 1 1. Okay, so in sign magnitude representation, this will be what? Okay, so this is in sign magnitude representation, and this is 5-bit. So I have to copy the sign bit once again. Now what should I do? I have to take the 2's complement. Why 2's complement? Because this is the negative number. This is the negative number. Okay, so if this is the negative number and I have to take the sign, if I have to take, what I should say, the 2's complement. So what will I do? Remember, these are the sign bit. Never complement this while taking 2's complement once again. So if I start, it will be 1 1, and writing from here again with the shortcut method, we see we encounter 1 at the first bit only. So we will just write and then take complement of each term. So if we take complement of each term, it will be 0 1 0. Okay. If we take C, which is the option here? No, this is not. This is 1 1 0 1 0 1. So option B is the correct answer for this question. Okay, so this was very simple question and we should be knowing the basics. So one thing always remember, if you copy the sign bit into the MSB, never ever complement those sign bit. Okay, if I would have complemented the sign bit, my answer would have looked like this: 1 0, means if I had complemented this bit. This is not magnitude bit, this is actually the sign bit that I have copied. Okay, so this would, the answer would have looked like 1 0. Okay, sorry, so this will be 1 0 1 0, and you might see there is some, no, they haven't framed that also. Okay, so if there was this option, means few students would have marked this also. So always remember this, never ever complement sign bit. Okay, even if you copy them into the corresponding MSB position, never take complement of those sign bit. Okay, so here actually they have asked a good question. This was also from electronics and communication branch. So what is the question? Let us first see that. The state diagram of a sequence detector is shown below. Okay, they have given a state diagram. State S0 is the initial state of the sequence detector. If the output is 1, then okay. So after the sequence has been completed, these are the sequence that is given, the output is 1. Okay, and we should know in such type of representation, the 1, it represents your what? Input, and 0, it represents your output. Okay, so whenever your input is 1, your output will be 0, and the present state is what? S0. So whenever we apply input as 1, the next state will be 1. Okay, and output will be what? It will be 0. Okay, this is what this signifies. Suppose here, okay, if my present state is S1, I apply input as 0, my output will be 0, and the next state will be also what? It will be S1. So if I draw the state table for this arrangement, so how will it look? So let me write here as input, present state, this will be my next state, and I need one more column for output. So first let me check for option A. Okay, so first I will be checking for option A, then for option B, then for option C. Okay, so let me first check for option A. So in option A, the input sequence is fixed. It is what? 0 1 0 1 0, and the present state, it is been given S0. So look very carefully. Okay, so if my present state is S0, okay, present state is S0, and if my input is 0, so you can see if your input is 0, the next state will be S1, and your output will be what? It will be 0. Fine. So now your present state is S1, you apply input as 1. Okay, your input is 1, and you can see no. So this will not, if input was 0, then you would have remain in the same state, but here input is 1, so you will be moving to S2 and output is 0. Fine. So now your present state is S2, input is 0, next state will be S3, output is 0, again present state is S3, you can see your input is now 1, okay, input is 1. So, if your input is 1, you will be moving on to S4, okay, you are moving to S4 and your output is what? Your output is 0, okay, output is 0, and now your present state is S4, okay, you can see S4 and your input is 0, okay. When input is 0, you can see the counter either moves to S0 or it moves to S3, okay, you can see both of them are having input as 0. So, either it will be moving to S4 or it will be moving to S3, but you can see your output is 1, your output is 1, okay, your output is 1. So, A can be your answer, but here actually there was problem in the examination paper, because such type of condition, this was actually what, okay, no, sorry, either it will be going to S0 or it will be S3, okay, either it will be going to S0 or to S3, okay. So, this was actually what, ambiguity state, this was actually ambiguity state. Actually the answer provided by the official IIT Delhi key, it is actually option A is the correct answer, but you can see this is the ambiguous state, but your output is 1, so it does not matter. So, now let us check actually option B, okay. I will be doing only option B, then you can check option C and D yourself. You will not be finding the output as 1 when this input sequence has been followed in option B. If you can see, the input sequence given for option B is what, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, so it is same up to this point, okay, you can see, look, same up to this point, 0, 1, 0, 1. So, 0, 1, 0, 1. So, let me just copy till here, S3, S4, output is 0. Now, present state is S4, if my input is 1, okay, what I say, sorry, yes. Now, if my present state is S4 and if my input is 1, okay. So, if my input is 1, you can see there is no state defined for S4 having input as 1. This is for 0, this is also for, you can see this is also for 0, this is for also 0, okay. There is no input state defined for S4 having input as 1, you can see there is no such state here. So, this cannot be the option, okay. Let me check this option C also. So, you can see 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. So, up to this point it is same as this thing only. So, let me write here S2, S3 and the output was what? It was 0. Now, let us check if my present state is S3, S3 and if I apply 0 as my input, if I apply 0 as input, okay, either it will be moving to S4 or to S1, either to S4 or to S1. So, output will be what? It will be 0, 0, fine, 0, output is 0, okay. So, now you can see if it is S4 and if I apply 1, we have already seen when there is S4 and we apply 1, there is no such state, okay, for the application of 1. And if it is S1, if we go to S1, okay, if we go to S1 and have input as 1, then we move on to S2, then we move to S2 with output as 0. You can see here, if we go to S1 and if we apply input as 1, so our output will be 0 and our next state will be S2. So, you can see my output is not 1 here, okay. So, due to this, option A is your correct answer for this question. So this question, actually it was one of the most conceptual questions they have asked for the ECE in 2020. It was actually simple, I can say, but it was very conceptual. Okay. So here what is given: for the components in the sequential circuit shown below, propagation delay TPD is the propagation delay, T setup is the setup time, and T hold is the hold time. The maximum clock frequency rounded off to the nearest integer at which the given circuit can operate reliably is in megahertz. Okay. So this is the sequential circuit along with some logic gates they have given. So they have asked you what will be the clock frequency for which this circuit can work properly. So here they have taken the help of setup time and hold time. Okay. So we need to know first what is setup time and what is hold time. So if I write the definition of setup time, so setup time is the time before which the input must be stable before the application of clock edge to be considered as valid input. So what do we mean by setup time? Setup time is the time before which the input must be stable before the application of clock edge to be considered as valid input. Okay. Suppose we have a D flip flop. Okay, we have a D flip flop and it is positive edge triggered, and this is my D in, or I can say input, and this will be output. Okay. Suppose this is positive edge triggered, so now ideally setup time is what? It is 0, we consider it as 0, but we have certain setup time in the circuit. So let me assume ideally when it is 0, so if this is my clock, this is clock, okay, so this is my clock, this is positive edge, actually positive edge triggered D flip flop, and if my input is something like this, okay, this is the input Di. Now my output when setup time is 0, okay, when my output when the setup time is 0, how should it be? Okay, first let me explain you what is setup time. So let me remove this thing. So this is my positive. Now setup time, what do we mean by setup time is that, let me assume the setup time for this circuit is given by Ts. Okay. So this is my Di. So actually what do we mean by setup time is that my input, it should stabilize before the occurrence of clock edge. Okay. So this time should be Ts. Okay, this time should be Ts to consider Di as input 1. This is my logic high state or logic 1 state. Okay. So for this D flip flop, to consider this as input 1, my input should stabilize before Ts seconds. Okay, Ts, it can be nanosecond, picosecond, whatever it can be, it should be stabilized before this time. Suppose if I take a numerical value, suppose here Ts is 3 nanosecond. Okay. So if Ts is 3 nanosecond, So this input should have transitioned from 0 to 1 3 nanosecond before the active clock edge. If this was like, input was like this, consider, okay, if this was 1 nanosecond, when this circuit has Ts is equal to 3 nanosecond, if the if the input transition had stabilized 1 nanosecond prior to the active clock edge, my flip flop, this D flip flop, would have considered this input as 0 only. It would not consider this as 1. Why? Because here the concept of setup time is here, and in this circuit the setup time is 3 nanosecond. That is, my input should be stable 3 nanosecond before the active clock edge, but here in this DI we can see it is stabilizing, it is making a transition 1 nanosecond prior to the active clock edge. Okay. So due to this, it will not, this transition from 0 to 1, it will be considered as 0 for this D flip flop. So this is the concept of setup time. Now let me show you what is hold time. Hold time. So hold time is basically the time after which the input must be stable after active clock edge to be considered as valid input. Okay. Definition of hold time. Hold time is basically the time after which the input must be stable after the active clock edge to be considered as a valid input. Previously it was, means the input in the setup time, it has to be stable before the application of active clock edge. Here for in the hold time condition, my input should be stable after the active clock edge. So if I want to take an example, again if we consider a D flip flop, so this is a D flip flop, this is D in, this is our output, and again this is positive edge triggered, so this is my clock. So this is my positive edge. Okay. So ideally the hold time is also 0. Okay. But suppose so this is my D in, okay, and it is making a transition from 1 to 0, and this is actually what? This is T hold. Okay. So this D flip flop, it will consider this as 1. Okay. This will consider, means this input will be considered 1 if my input is stable for T hold time after the application of the positive edge or the active edge. Okay. So here let me assume if T hold was 3 nanosecond, so this circuit, okay, this flip flop, it will consider there is a transition from 1 to 0. So the input will be considered as 0. Okay, this the input will be considered as 1. Okay, input will be considered as 1. So here the input will be considered as 1. Okay, why 1? Because this 1, it is stable for 3 nanoseconds after the application of, after the active clock edge. Okay. Now suppose if I draw a same input for this circuit, and if the transition was somewhat like this, where t hold was equal to 1 nanosecond. Okay, so if this was 1 nanosecond, so my D flip flop, it will not consider this as 1. Okay, it will not consider this as 1, it will be continuing its previous state, whatever it was, the whole state, it will be continuing. It can be 1, it can be 0, whatever was the state before this 1, it will be continuing that. Okay, so this is actually the concept of hold time and setup time. Now one thing to note here is that hold time and setup time, they are, means if in a circuit they have given you both hold time and setup time, we will be taking into account setup time, because setup time is what, it is occurring before the clock edge. Okay, so here more priority is given to setup time when we are determining the maximum clock frequency. Okay, so we have to actually give more priority to the setup time. Now let us see, here they have asked us what, the maximum clock frequency at which the given circuit can operate reliably. So we need to see actually what is the operation, what are the operations that are occurring in between two active clock edges. Okay, you can see this is positive edge. Oh, they have given, okay, let me assume this is positive edge. Okay, so these are positive edge. So let me first see what are the operations that are occurring in between two positive edges. Okay, so first let me assume, okay, so one another thing here to note is that you can see that that input of this flip flop 2, okay, input of this flip flop 2 is basically the output of flip flop 1. Okay, and output of flip flop 2, it is input of flip flop 1. Okay, so this is actually a little bit confusing. So what I do, first let me assume we are starting from flip flop 1. Okay, let me denote by this color. Okay, for flip flop 1, let me denote by this color. So if I start, so what I can see here, there is a propagation delay of 3 nanosecond. Okay, so in between we have a propagation delay of 3 nanosecond. So my output of this flip flop, it will be stable after 3 nanoseconds. So this is 3 nanoseconds. So here we will be getting output as after 3 nanosecond, and input, this has been applied at 0 nanoseconds only. So here the input was stable, present from 0 nanosecond. So 0 nanosecond and 3 nanosecond, this XOR gate has a propagation delay of 2 nanoseconds. So after 5 nanoseconds, it will be generating what? It will be giving the output. So here in total we have 5 nanosecond. So after 5, we have here how much? 7 nanoseconds. Okay, so after 7 nanoseconds, in total we will have the output of the flip flop 2, but here we have been given setup time as 4 nanoseconds. Okay, so after 7, so let me rub this. So this was 3 plus 2 plus, no, 2 plus 2. Okay, so I should be writing like this directly. If I write, I can write it like this is 3 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, so after 7 nanoseconds we get the input to flip flop 2, but remember here the setup time is given as what? 4 nanosecond is given. So here my input should be stable. Okay, input to this flip flop, it should be stable 4 nanoseconds before the active clock edge. Okay, so here the input should be stable 4 nanosecond before the active clock edge, another second active clock edge, my input should be stable, which is actually the output of the flip flop number 1. So in total how much time I am taking? This is 3 plus 2 5, 7, 11 nanosecond I am taking when I am starting from flip flop 1. Okay. Now let me denote by green color this flip flop 2. So if we see that the first what we are having is propagation delay of the flip flop 2 is what? It is 8 nanosecond. So let me write that 8 nanosecond. Okay, so this is 8 nanosecond. Now I can see after 8 nanosecond the output of flip flop 2 is delivered, which is going to flip flop 1, but the input it should stable 5 nanosecond before the next active clock edge. Okay, so this time it should be 5 nanosecond before the next active clock edge. What I am trying to explain, see, if I start from flip flop 2, so here the output transition it will take place for this 8 nanoseconds, okay, because output previously it is getting ready. Here we are not taking, when we are starting from the flip flop, here we are not taking the concept of setup time, because output has already been stabilized. Okay, we can consider that output has already been stabilized. So after the application, means sorry, after the propagation delay of 8 nanoseconds, we feed the output to flip flop 1. So here actually the input should stabilize 5 nanoseconds before the next active clock edge. So here how much we get? We get 13 nanoseconds. Okay. So what we require at which circuit? Sorry, the maximum clock frequency at which the circuit can operate reliably. Okay, so we need the maximum clock frequency. So if we need the maximum clock frequency, here we can see we are getting 13 nanosecond, here we are having 11 nanoseconds. So worst case delay is in which case? In this second case. Okay, so the worst case delay is in this second case. So the frequency f clock should be how much? It should be, okay, so they have given actually what? 1 by 13 nanoseconds. Okay, 1 by 13 nanoseconds, this should be, so this will be equal to, so 10 to the power 9 by 13, which is equal to 1000 by 13 into 10 to the power 6, and this comes out nearly around 76.5 megahertz. Okay, this comes around nearly 76.5. So your answer was 77 megahertz, in the range of 76 to 77 megahertz. Okay, so this was one of the very good questions they have given. So the next question has been asked to double E. So here what they have given, a sequence detector is designed to detect precisely 3 digital input with overlapping sequences detectable. For the sequence 101 and the input data given, what is the output of this detector? Okay, so first let me copy down this output input data. So it is what? 1 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 0. Okay, so we have a sequence detector, and for what is the what sequence is it detecting? It is detecting 1 0 1. So what it will do, this sequence detector, it will keep on checking bit by bit. First it will check this 3 bit, in the second clock pulse it will check this one, in the third clock pulse it will check this one, this 3 bit, in the fourth clock pulse it will be checking, okay, like this it will be taking place. So let us see actually. So this is what means, you people should be able to solve it correctly. So how, if I was sitting in the exam, how I would have done it? So first I will take this 3 number. So it is what I can see, this is not the same sequence, so output will be 0. And next you can see we have this same sequence, so output will be 1. Now you can see the output is not the same, so 0. So we have come up to this point. So this is again we can see not the same. 0 0 1, this is also not the same. You can see 0 1 1, this is also not the same. 1 1 1 0, not same. 1 0 1, yes, this is actually our sequence. Now 0 1 0, this is also not same. Again we can see we have our sequence of 1 0 1, so this is 1. Now if I have to check here, it is 0 1 1, so 0. Now 0 1 1, now we have 1 0 0, which is not the same. So after 1 0 0 we will not be checking because there are no number. Now how should I write it? How should I write it? See, when I did, I was doing like this, first this lower, then upper, lower, upper. So how will I write it? I will just write it like that, 0 1, like this, 0 1, then again 0 0, okay, then again 0 0, this 0 0, then again what, 0 1, 0 1 and 0 0. So check which is the option, 0 1, then 4 zeros, then 1 0, okay, 0 1, then 1 2 3 4 5, 0 1 1 2 3 4 5, okay, then we have 1 0 1 1 0 1 0 0, okay. So our option A is the correct answer. So this was actually quite confusing, okay, this was quite confusing question, but if we take proper care and proper attention, we can solve this question, okay. There is no concept involved here, just your concentration, how good you are able to handle the concentration in examination hall, that is what they wanted to check. So let us see the first command. What it is? It is LXI H 2001 H. So what does this mean? Load immediate HL pair with this address location, okay. So my HL pair, it will be stored with 2001, okay, in hexadecimal. So this is immediately it will load. Now what does MVI A stands for? Move immediate the accumulator value by this data value, okay. Basically this is what, this is your 16-bit number, okay, 16-bit, and this is what, this is 8-bit. So 8-bit is data, 16-bit is address. So this HL pair has been loaded with the address and this accumulator is loaded with this data. So now the content of accumulator is what? It is 21H, fine. Now what is said? Increment INXH, fine. So what does this mean? This means you have to increment the HL register by 1. Content means the address location of the HL register by 1. So now your HL register will be what? It will be 2002, okay. Now add M, they have told you add M. So what does this mean? Basically this means you have to add the content or data in the accumulator by the data that is denoted by the address of HL location, HL register pair. So what is the address of HL location now? 2002. So you can see at 2002 we have been given the value B1H. and in A we have already 21H. So 21H plus B1. So this will be 2, B corresponds to 10, 10 plus 2, B corresponds to 11 and 11 plus 2 is 13, 13 is what? D. So now, and this D2, okay, this D2, where will it be stored? It will be stored in the accumulator, okay. So now my accumulator has the value D2H, okay. After add M, my value of accumulator is D2H. Now what is the next instruction? It is INXH, okay. So again I have to increment the HL register pair by 1. So HL will be now, initially it was 2002, now it will be 2003, fine. Now move content of A to the address location of HL, okay. So what does this MOV M comma A means? You have to move the data present in A to the address location denoted by HL pair. This M basically denotes the HL register pair, okay. So you have to move the content or the data in the A or accumulator to the address location specified by the HL register pair, okay. So HL register pair is basically denoting this 2003H memory location, and in this memory cell what is the data present? It is D2H, okay. Then we have halt. At the end of this program, the memory location 2003H contains the number in decimal, okay. So they are asking what is the decimal number. So this is D2H, so this is equal to 13, okay. So I have to calculate, sorry, the decimal equivalent for this number. So 13 into 16 plus 2. So this will be what? 160,208 plus 2, that is equal to 210, okay. So your answer for this question will be 210. So this was also a very simple question they have asked, very basic instructions. So I hope you people have understand and enjoyed this lecture. If you have any doubts, you can just comment in the comment section and I will get back to you soon, okay. So I hope that was a very good session with you people. I hope you enjoyed it, okay. Then thank you.